allegiance led by Commissioner Boyce, I believe.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right. We begin this morning. I would like to acknowledge that today we recognize Pride Month and celebrate and support the LGBT community and the residents in Franklin County. While there is still much more work to be done, we also want to recognize the Supreme Court decision yesterday that confirmed, or the day before yesterday, I believe now, that confirmed the workplace, or I guess it was yesterday, today's Tuesday. We lose time here during this pandemic. Confirmed the workplace anti-discrimination for the LGBT across the country. Franklin County will light up the downtown county building in rainbow colors this week, and again in October when the Pride Festival and the parade will be held. We have had a delay. Normally that would be this week, and so while there's all sorts of celebration happening this week anyway, the official Pride Festival and parade will happen in early October, and so we will certainly have a major celebration with county government in early October, but for simply solidarity's sake and a good year anyway, we want to make sure that we light up the courthouse this weekend. While the courthouse is orange right now in support of gun violence, Moms Demand Action, and those that are against gun violence, as we all are, we will go back to orange on Monday, but for the weekend, we are going to light it up in pride colors. So, started this morning recognizing that. I don't know if my colleagues wanted to say anything about pride.
I think, the vote was a 6-3 vote, and it was an amazing day for the LGBTQ community, and I'm so proud to be an ally of that community, as we are such a welcoming community, living in the midst of the community that is the largest portion of the LGBT community. It feels so good to be outside, and yesterday was just such a great day, and everybody was so excited where I was outside in the neighborhood. So this is a great thing for the community and for the nation.
Yeah, I just add thanks both Commissioner O'Grady and Commissioner Brown. I'm not sure I can say much more than that, other than to say that I think it really highlights the opportunity that we have to really get things right in this country. It really, sometimes we make those progressive steps that show what we really can be as an American community, and I think that's one of those cases. And living in Central Ohio is definitely that kind of experience. If like the three of us, actually, I think Commissioner Brown, you grew up in Cleveland, but Commissioner O'Grady and I grew up here. And what I would say about that is that it's such a different place than when we grew up. And, as the Columbus that I remember as a kid is not the Columbus of today. And that's the best part about it. People like to be nostalgic and think back. What I think about is the progress that we've made as a community in Central Ohio. And even though we've got we're working on it. All the things that are happening, that's a demonstration of progress in conversation around change for this. And so it is really good news, and it's exciting, and looking forward to honoring and celebrating Pride with a lot of my friends.
Well, I always want to take any opportunity I can to remind Commissioner Boyce that I was born in the great city of Cleveland.
Oh, never mind. I take back everything I said.
Go Brown. Go Brown. Have good times. But yes, Commissioner, you are 100% correct. This is certainly not the city that I grew up in, not the community that I grew up in, and that is a fantastic thing. The city of Columbus that I was born into, or that I grew up, moved to when I was just an infant in 1965, was predominantly white, predominantly. It was very. When my parents came here, when my dad came here to work for Governor DeSalle in the early 1960s, and then came back in the mid 1960s to work for the Ohio Democratic Party, was state capital, and it was a small town, smallish town, and this is a thriving metropolis. We have people from residents from over speak. The school district, the Columbus City School District, speaks well over 100 languages at this point, and so we are a thriving metropolitan community, and that is a fantastic thing. The community.
Commissioners, if I might, it's Michael Daniels. I just want to say personally to all three of you, thank you for being in front of this issue for a very long time. You didn't have to wait for the Supreme Court to tell you this was the right thing to do. You've been on the right side of this issue for 2 decades. And personally, and I see many of my colleagues from the community on this call and throughout this building, but I just want to personally say thank you for having had our backs when you didn't have to, when it wasn't even necessarily politically comfortable to do that, for placing members of the LGBTQ plus community in positions of leadership throughout the county, and to making sure that we were at the table and that we had a voice and that we were really part of growing this community. I cannot thank you, each one of you personally, for the personal relationship that I have with you and for the support throughout my career in Columbus and your unwavering stance behind the queer community. I just wanted to say personally, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I want to, Michael, I want to say thank you for, outing me as a bear. So thanks.
My pleasure, Commissioner.
That was a long time ago. My wife still never lets me forget it.
I think that's a great segue to our agenda, Commissioners.
Thanks, Dean.
Dean's on top. Dean, no play.
All right. So I need a motion for the approval of the June 11th, 2020 briefing session and the June 8th, 10th, 12th, and 12th, 2020 administrative briefings.
So move.
Commissioner Brown, you're muted.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Voting. Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
All right. Domestic relations.
I know Ms. Reeves was on the call, and I'm not seeing her name anymore.
Okay. Well, we can come back to Barbara, not here. Dean, if you want to be in touch with her, we can get her back on in a minute. We'll move on to the engineer. Mr. Robertson, how are you this morning?
Doing great. How are you all? Cornell Robertson, County Engineer for everyone in Franklin County. It's my pleasure to be here, even if only in a virtual sense.
Good morning, Mr. Engineer. Resolution number 391-20, establishing, altering, and widening of Fisher Road between I-70 and McKinley Avenue, Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, declared necessary.
Commissioners, this capital improvement project is in Franklin Township. It's along Fisher Road from I-70 east to McKinley Avenue. It's a cooperative project with City of Columbus and will widen and improve Fisher Road associated with your and the sheriff's new jail. This resolution is the first in a series of 2 to declare the roadway project necessary.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 391-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 391-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 392-20. Resolution awarding contract and approving contract bond to Darby Creek Excavating Incorporated for Rid Path Road over Stanford Smith Ditch in the amount of $269,203.50.
Commissioners, as stated, this capital improvement project is in the southwest part of the county in Jackson Township along Rid Path Road over Stanford Smith Ditch. This resolution is a construction contract award with Darby Creek Excavating. We held a competitive bid on April 28th. We had 3 bidders and none of those bids were acceptable. Therefore, we went through a rebid process. The second bid was on May 19th. We had 4 bidders that time. 2 were acceptable, and Darby Creek Excavating had the lowest and best bid.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 392-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 392-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 393-20. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a contract modification with E.P. Ferris Associates Incorporated for the Agler Road 1.52 over Alum Creek project, an increase of $123,277 for a revised contract amount of $556,819.
Commissioners, this capital improvement project is in the northeast part of the county in Mifflin Township. It's along Agler Road over Alum Creek. It is a cooperative project between Franklin County, City of Columbus, and one that we've been in communication with the Northeast Area Commission. City of Columbus has requested a change to the number of lanes along Agler Road, as well as the addition of a shared use path. So that this contract modification will cover that extra design work, and a portion will be reimbursed by City of Columbus. We would recommend your approval.
Great. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 393-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 393-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 394-20. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a contract modifications with Everett, Meckwort, Hambleton, and Tilton Incorporated for Alder Ditch, Brown Township, Foley Ditch, Prairie Township, and the Elliott Road and Hayden Run Road, Washington Township drainage improvement projects, an increase of $84,527 for a revised contract amount of $171,673.
Commissioners, that is correct. This resolution is a drainage design contract modification with EMH&T. Alder Ditch improvement in Brown Township has been modified. Foley Ditch improvement in Prairie Township has been eliminated. And Elliott Road and the Hayden Run Road drainage improvement in Washington Township has been added. We again would recommend your approval.
Outstanding. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 394-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 394-20 has been adopted.
Thank you all very much. Have a good day.
You too,
Thank you.
Cornell.
Domestic Relations Court, we'll go back to Barb now.
Resolution number 390-20. Resolution authorizing a second amendment to the 2020 grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Youth Services in the amount of $15,000. Barb, if you're calling in, it's *6 to unmute.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barb Reeves with Domestic and Juvenile Court. This resolution is requesting an amendment to the 2020 grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Youth Services. First, we're requesting an increase to the treatment program by $15,000. Additionally, we're asking for the realignment of funds with the Grant Administration and Truancy Intervention Program to add comp wages, taxable fringe benefits, and term vacation. The budget for these programs remains unchanged. Pending any questions, the court requests the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to my screen. 390-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 390-20 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. On to the sheriff.
Resolution number 395-20, resolution authorizing an agreement with Professional Service Industries Incorporated to conduct a geotechnical exploration for the Franklin County Sheriff's Office Training Academy Oval Track and Shoots project in the amount of $3,830.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Masterson representing Sheriff Dallas Baldwin. This resolution will approve an agreement to allow land adjacent to the current Franklin County Sheriff's Training Academy to be studied for the feasibility of putting a running track in that area. Once this study comes back and the feasibility is confirmed, we would then have discussions with SWACO, who we lease the land from, to determine if we are truly capable or allowed to put this track there. It is being funded through non-general funds, continuing professional training funds, and the project itself will be funded that way as well if we move forward. Any questions, I ask approval of this resolution.
Great. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 395-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 395-20 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Okay. We are now with the coroner.
Resolution number 396-20, resolution authorizing the acceptance of a Coverdale Forensic Science Improvement Grant, Franklin County Forensic Science Improvement, for the reduction of postmortem forensic toxicology backlog and to increase the number of new drugs tested. I know Mr. Baker's on, so there we go. You're still muted, Dan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Daniel Baker from the Franklin County Coroner's Office. This resolution seeks to accept a Coverdale Forensic Science Improvement Grant. Coroner's Office has applied for and been posting costs, reduce forensic toxicology backlogs, and expand the testing scope. The overall result will be an enhancement of the services provided by our office to the communities of Franklin County. We seek your acceptance of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 396-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 396-20 has been adopted.
All right. The auditor.
Resolution number 397-20, resolution authorizing a 3-year software as a service agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated, updating the Franklin County Auditor's Office computer-assisted mass appraisal system utilizing non-general funds in the amount of $1,890,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Adam Seeley, Staff Counsel for Franklin County Auditor Michael Stenziano. Resolution number 397-20 authorizes a 3-year software as a service agreement to update the county auditor's computer-assisted mass appraisal system. This SaaS agreement reduces the county's overall technological debt as aging out, end-of-life county-supplied hardware and county-maintained software minimizes the risks of data reliability and data security issues. It also sets up the county on the best possible footing to responsibly transition away from the auditor's highly customized and difficult to maintain legacy tax accounting solution. Transitioning the CAMA system to the SaaS environment is crucial to free up county resources to focus on mission-critical tasks while ensuring that the system is continuously maintained with state-of-the-art hardware and software updates. I'd also just like to add that this resolution is the result of over 6 months of close collaboration with County Purchasing Director Lanier, Harold Anderson of the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and Franklin County Data Center CIO Adam Frumkin. The Auditor's Office would like to thank those three for their efforts to ensure that the terms of this agreement are consistent with county goals and values and put the county in the best possible position for success as we move forward. Adam Frumkin from the data center is on the line for any technical questions the commissioners might have, and pending any questions, we'd seek approval of this resolution. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 397-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 397-20 has been adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On to the treasurer.
Resolution number 398-20, resolution authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for operational support. Ms. Troy, I may have muted you. There you go.
I don't know if you're next. Here.
Victoria?
Yes, Jim's here.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank
They
you.
had difficulty getting in. My apologies.
Yeah, this is Jim Holmes with the Treasurer's Office. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm sorry we had trouble getting in through Zoom or telephonically this morning. This is a request for supplemental appropriation for the funding for Pro Team Solutions, our PSI, in order to keep the systems management of the Franklin County Treasurer System running through the end of the year.
Sorry, switching screens again. There are no questions? Move for adoption of 398-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 398-20 has been adopted.
Thank you. The Animal Control Department.
Resolution number 399-20, resolution authorizing a non-general fund transfer of appropriations for the purchase of capital equipment. Commissioners, I'm sorry, I don't have in front of me who was supposed to present this resolution. If they're on the line, you're still muted. It's *6 to unmute, please.
Allison, are you there?
Allison, it looks like you're unmuted now. And it looks like we've lost Allison. Hold on, she's coming right back in, Commissioners.
Okay.
Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. I got kicked out for a moment. I'm sorry about that. I am Allison Waters, Fiscal Officer for Animal Care and Control. This resolution authorizes a supplemental appropriation from our Dog and Kennel Donation Fund in order to replace a 9-year-old X-ray machine, as well as a transfer to capital assets in order to replace a 20-year-old washing machine, Pending any questions, we are requesting approval of this resolution. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 399-20.
Dean, you got me a
Second.
little.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 399-20 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. We are now on to community partnerships.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning,
Dana
Dan.
McCrary, Administrator, Community Partnerships. This morning's resolution supports COSI Connects, which is a distance learning initiative that supports Franklin County parents, teachers, and children from early childhood all the way up through grade 12. The program is a multi-year, sustainable, at-home science discovery and learning platform. COSI Connects includes e-learning as well as offline implementation. The e-learning features a short educational video that's supported by hands-on activities that are targeted towards specific age groups. COSI will collect data from website tracking, mobile applications, data analytics, and views to measure their digital reach into the community. Now, the offline implementation features physical portfolios or kits that are offered in collaboration with community meal providers such as Children's Hunger Alliance. COSI will deliver no fewer than 8,000 STEM kits to students and families in underserved communities. Through this public-private partnership, every child in Franklin County, with or without internet access, can benefit from the STEM lessons that will be offered through COSI Connects. Additional partners in this initiative include Franklin County Children's Services and Boys and Girls Clubs of Columbus. So, pending any questions, I would respectfully request the approval of this resolution. And I wanted to say, in addition, if you do have questions, Dr. Bertley is on the line from COSI.
Dr. Bertley, would love to hear from you.
Well, commissioners, just want to test. Can you hear me now?
Surely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to thank all three commissioners and Ken Wilson for his leadership in this process. COSI, as you know, is a cultural anchor along with the other great institutions in the city. We are thrilled to partner with you all, to be supported by you all. This is much educational science content in general, but especially during this pandemic and post-pandemic situation. So thank you so much. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
This sounds like a great program for students of any age. Is there a target age range that you're looking to reach?
Yeah, I mean, great question, Commissioner Brown. First of all, we're serving K through 12, and as was mentioned, teachers and parents as well. And I do want to say that, unfortunately, the pandemic situation forced us to close like many other institutions. But from March 17th to today, we've actually tested COSI Connects in incredible ways, penetrating all kinds of communities. And we're so thrilled because we know it works. We've received the rave reviews. So we're happy to leverage your support to push it out to the most needed community.
That's great.
Thanks.
As always. Are there any further questions?
Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. Dr. Bertley, I would like to thank you and the team at COSI for bringing this program to the attention of county administration. Because as has been stated on a number of occasions, the county's committed to make summer count in spite of this pandemic and reach out to as many of our youth as possible so that they have some opportunities to receive quality educational enrichment programming. because unfortunately, we know that there were gaps created that we all must strategically work to close as a result of schools being closed in March when this pandemic struck our community. So I appreciate you all for bringing this program forward to reach the underserved youth in our county with not only education opportunities, but you included the nutrition in the food, because many kids in our community, unfortunately, are food insecure. So appreciate you all including that element by having the partnership with Children's Hunger Alliance. So this is excellent work. We want to try to do as much of this as possible as we go through the summer and beyond.
Well, Administrator Wilson, thank you so much for your support. We're happy to be a partner with you all.
So, Clerk Hendeline, can you please read the resolution into the record?
I will. Thank you, Commissioner. Resolution number 400-20, resolution authorizing a COVID-19 response grant to the Center of Science and Industry to provide STEM education to Franklin County students in the amount of $250,000.
Thank you.
If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 400-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 400-20 has been adopted.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a great day.
You too. All right, economic development and planning.
Resolution number 401-20, resolution responding to the notice received concerning a proposed tax increment financing district, the courtyards at Morse Incentive District in Jefferson Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Roth, Senior Program Coordinator with Economic Development and Planning. On May 21st, Jefferson Township submitted formal notice to the county of their intentions to establish a primarily residential non-school tax increment financing district, the Courtyards at Morse Incentive District. The TIF district was proposed for 100% for a term of 30 years. And the purpose of the district is to support an entirely new residential development that would consist of approximately 62 single-family homes at the southwest corner of Morse Road at Reynoldsburg, New Albany. Residential TIFs place a burden on county social service levy agencies that primarily commercial or industrial TIFs do not, because the residents of that new development are likely to need or benefit from the services provided from our levy agencies. As a result, Economic Development and Planning would recommend that the board vote in the affirmative to object to the term of the proposed TIF district, and this would allow the county to enter into negotiations for a mutually acceptable compensation agreement to ensure that our social service levy agencies receive a portion of the new property taxes resulting from the development. Pending any questions, we'd ask for your approval.
Great. Are there any comments or questions?
No.
Thank you. Seeing that there are none, move for adoption of 401-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 401-20 has been adopted.
Thank you. Job and Family Services.
Resolution number 402-20, resolution establishing the Franklin County Family Stabilization Unit Pilot Program.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. So let me prepare everyone. I've had espresso this morning. So the person that's showing up this morning, I don't know who she is yet. So I get grace this morning. This morning.
This morning different than.
Someone gave me espresso. So, Commissioners, this morning I am bringing forth a resolution that will formally establish the Family Stabilization Unit. Commissioners, this initiative supports the Poverty Blueprint Plan as well as your efforts in declaring racism a public health crisis in this county. Commissioners, I'm going to formally read what the Family Stabilization Unit is. The Family Stabilization Unit will provide wraparound support and assist families in successfully navigating the human services system. The unit will take a tailored, multi-generational approach to meeting the unique needs of each family, all through a social determinants of health and racial equity lens. Through this pilot, the unit will work with families that are initially referred through the Franklin County Common Pleas Juvenile Branch, with the focus on boys and young men of color who have lower level offenses such as truancy and delinquency. I will be remiss if I fail to mention that this initiative is historic for this county. This is the first time that county human service agencies, both Board of Commissioner and levy, are collectively partnering and integrating our efforts to better support and eliminate barriers for the targeted population, which is in this case, boys and young men of color. What we know is this, commissioners: racial disparities are further fueled by siloed systems, especially human services systems consisting of a myriad of local, state, federal guidelines for families to navigate. Commissioners, with me today, who will be presenting with me, are Mr. Christopher Honeycutt and Mr. Walter Dillard, your newly appointed family stabilization specialists. I will tell you briefly that these two young men are not only committed, they are dedicated, they are innovative, they are problem solvers, and they are extremely talented. I think we got it right with these two, commissioners. What I love about them and what I dislike about them is they ask why a whole lot, which for a person like me who has control issues, I don't like that. As we talk about creating a new normal, we need Christopher and Walter at the table pushing us, asking the why, to challenge us to create a better system for families. Before I turn it over to them, I would ask this board, this administration, to continue to allow them and others who will be added to this team to continue to be innovative, to continue to be creative and retool when needed. But most importantly, allow them to make mistakes so they can learn and create a better way of doing things for our families. I guarantee you these two will not fail. And if there is any failure, it is in me for not preparing them or not providing them with the needed resources to be successful. Also, who will be reading a support statement is our own wonderful dynamic president of the NAACP, Ms. Nana Watson. Thank you, commissioners, and we are excited to present this resolution to you. Mr. Dillard and Mr. Honeycutt, I did exactly what you told me to do. They tell me what to do now, commissioners, and you know I'm not used to that, especially that Dillard. He tells me exactly what to do. So this is your show, you guys. Go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Thank you, Director. First and foremost, good morning to the Board of Commissioners and the residents of Franklin County. I'm blessed to be afforded the opportunity to be a part of curating this family stabilization unit under the tutelage and leadership of Director Bivens and the Board of County Commissioners. I have a deep-rooted passion for working in marginalized and downtrodden communities. And this unit will provide real, tangible wraparound services for families while addressing the social determinants of health and achieving racial equity through realistic and attainable case plans, while maintaining intense correspondence with families to help render families into self-stabilization. And as a representative of this county that's at the forefront of leading and trailblazing change in this space, we are no longer accepting the things we cannot change. Instead, we are changing the things we cannot accept. And that's one of the factors that makes me most proud and encouraged to be a part of this unit. With that being said, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Dillard.
Good morning, Commissioners. How you guys doing today?
Good morning. Good.
Good morning, County Administrator Wilson. Thank you, Director Bivens, for those kind words. But for those that don't know me, my name is Walter Dillard. I am the other Family Stabilization Unit Specialist. First and foremost, thank the Board of Commissioners for this opportunity. I'm extremely eager to work with this unit, not only because of the impact that it's going to have here in Franklin County, but we know this is going to be a model that other counties can emulate as well. I want to emphasize that this is not just another social service unit for Franklin County, but this is a social justice unit. I say that because African Americans, we make up 22.5% of Franklin County. However, we make up 74% of the poverty population. Even though we graduate at the same rate from high school as our white constituents, our household median income is only $25,000 compared to their $48,000. Just last week, I was at the corner store up the street from my house. I saw a mother of 4 buying snacks for her children with her EBT card. Why is that significant? That's because only 8% of us actually have access to a grocery store. 8% of us only live 1 mile within a grocery store's radius. So witnessing that, it kind of reminds me of how this just exacerbates those comorbidities that have riddled our community for generations, such as hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, and the like. And so, County Administrator Wilson, you talked about that food insecurity. I want to challenge that a little bit further. That lack of access to healthy foods is another social determinant or barrier that our families are facing. So by establishing this unit, we can look through that racial equity lens, tackle those social determinants or barriers, and work with community partners to help families achieve that self-sufficiency. And lastly, to the residents of Franklin County, you will be the measure of our accomplishments. The ramifications of this unit will have overarching impacts to families and communities with the singular purpose of healing both the visible and invisible harsh realities that dominate those social determinants of health. We are committed to facing those bullies' systemic barriers and confront them with competency, integrity, and decency. Together, we will work decisively to defeat generations of struggle and work with others to create a new policy that is so integrated that the whole community will proceed triumphantly. In short, this unit will right the wrongs, become a beacon of light, and build bridges to better days, months, and years for us all. Thank you.
Miss Nana's on a call, I think, Dean. I think she's on.
She's on mute. She got to hit the mute button. President Watt, you got to hit the mute button. Madam President Watt.
Okay. I'm here.
Good morning, Madam
What can
President.
I say after those by that great presentation by those young brothers? I'm happy to have met them, and I'm happy that they're going to be engaged. But I have this statement that I must read. Good morning, commissioners. I bring you greetings from the oldest and the boldest civil rights organization in America. I know that my good friend, Administrator Wilson, loves that. So I'm not going to say it again. But I do want to say good morning. And the NAACP had a strategic plan that was developed several years ago, and it was mandated by the national that we address 7 game changers. And I'm going to briefly just tell you what they are: economic sustainability, education, health, public safety, criminal justice, voting rights, political representation, expanding youth and young adult engagement. Those game changers all address racial inequity. Commissioners, the Family Stabilization Unit has the potential to be a game changer for these boys and their families. You're approaching, as always, this work through racial equity lens, and I'm so happy that you have taken this on. And with an understanding that the way our human services system is structured today doesn't work for everybody, but least of all, boys of color. How many fewer Black men would be locked up today if someone from the government had not wrapped their arms around them and families as a boy? Former presidents have called America the land of second choices, but it has rarely ever been for Black men. But with this unit and for the boys and families they serve, maybe it can start to live up to that idea. That's why your NAACP enthusiastically supports this resolution. We offer to be a resource for the men, I call them sons, Chris and Walter, who will be leading it, and the boys and families they will serve. We want to make sure that all are in position to succeed, and we will lend our voice and our advocacy to make sure they have the resources they need to do so. Leaders don't just recognize a problem and talk about it, they do something about it. When you pass the resolution declaring racism a public health crisis, I commended you for recognizing the elephant in the room. This Family Stabilization Unit is doing something about it. Thank you so very much.
I believe, Dean, that Commissioner Boyce and other commissioners are going to make comments. But before we move on, to my colleagues, particular to Rob Young, I know many times when we bring talent forward, he has his pen out, writing, taking notes, and trying to figure out how he eagerly will poach. In the words of my daughter's great cartoon that she loved, Dora the Explorer, swipe or no swiping. Thank you.
Before we, Commissioner O'Grady, man, ask a question.
Please.
Before we get into the comments, there's a couple of quick questions, Director. One, let me just restate that you said on the record that you're on the hook. So I want to just be clear to everybody how she said that, because, you know, we're looking for that and we're coming to you, Director.
Got you.
Yeah, so.
You always do.
I know we were working on some of the details, and in one of the details, we got hung up on location. What's the situation where the offices will be located? Because why I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, but it is going to be critical for them to be connected to the courts in a way where they can access people who are coming through the system, and catch those families that they have to interact, and even being in the building next door can, you know, sometimes break things up logistically. So did we work that out? I know we were trying to still work on that.
So, Commissioner, the last time we spoke with our director at PFM and assistant and COO over there, the only option that was available was the 80 East Fulton building. I believe that I was told that the tower where they really should be located is filled, and I don't know how to navigate through that. So I would need assistance from this administration in order to figure out what would be the next best location for them, because they need to be close to the families.
So, and I know we talked about trying to get offices over at the courts. That just didn't seem to be a possibility whatsoever. But I'd ask that we have just one more conversation about that, and we'll get Darla Reardon on and whoever else they want to put on the call. And I think Administrator Wilson, you should be on that call. And let's try to just work through that little bit of a issue if we can.
Commissioner, I would ask if we could get them, if it's possible, if everything works out, I would ask that if we can get them located within the next 30 days. They're currently being cross-trained in every system, and it would just make sense as we begin to stand this up for them to be in proximity to the court.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. I'll ask, so I know my staff is on the call. I'll ask if we can quarterback, make sure the other commissioner offices are given the information as well, so that we can kind of finish this off. Because I think that was the one little piece that we hadn't gotten worked out, and I think that'll make a difference. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a
Director Reardon,
remarkable.
Long Deputy Administrator.
Oh, go ahead.
Commissioners and County Director Bibbins. Chris Long, we'll go back. I know that we have Director Reardon attempting to find a space, but we'll certainly take another look and see if there's any opportunity there to see if there's a location that's a little bit closer than 80 East Fulton. So we'll take another look at that.
And let me just add, no, go ahead, Commissioner Brown. I'll add after you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was just going to say that, you know, what I don't want to do with these guys, and I've been very much active and engaged in this conversation as they developed this model. But one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to sort of do that thing where we create the program and we got really strong staff in place, and then we tuck them off in some office that creates a very inaccessible and logistical problem, because that can have an impact on results. And so I really want to address this aggressively, and I wanted to bring it up in session so that we could sort of all kind of put our minds to this and try to figure it out, because as I said before, I didn't think that was a really good option given their clientele is, you know, a block over, you know, essentially. And it just, that little logistical breakdown could make a difference. So I'm sorry, Commissioner Brown.
Commissioner Boyce. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll yield to,
Let's finish with this.
There's enough time for everyone.
this is Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. I just want to say the logistics of where Mr. Dillard and Mr. Honeycutt are located will not get in their way of success. I will see to that. We will find them somewhere to work. Even if they have to come and sit in the office where I'm at socially distanced, I think I could keep them 6 feet apart, and they can work out of my office if that's where they need to be in order to access the court. But when Director Bibbins and they've been working, every time I communicate with them, Commissioner Boyce, I'm like, are you in this agency? Are you in that agency? They're going to have to be boots on the ground quite a bit too, but we want to make sure that they had a proper home. They will not be tucked away or hidden away, or although that builds character. I've been in a cubicle, but we're going to put them where they need to be, Commissioner Boyce.
But you can put them in my office. It's not like I'm using it. Give them my office.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got space on the 20th floor. We'll make space.
We got a lot of space that has become available under the new normal. We got conference rooms that won't be used in the same way they were before. So we'll get them a iPad, laptop, cell phone, whatever they need to be mobile. Location will not be an excuse that these two young men will be able to use to not be able to get the job done as laid out in this resolution. I guarantee you that.
Commissioner Brown, I think you had some comments.
I am so pleased. And when I had an opportunity to meet these two gentlemen, I was so impressed with the level of professionalism about Walter and Christopher. You have so much that you have to offer, and I think this program has such a great ability to make a huge impact in this community. And the wonderful thing about looking through a racial lens, we can also look at this in a cross-departmental way to get people what they need when they need it. And that's what makes this program work. We don't have to have people go through 7 different rooms and doors to get what they need. They need to go through one door and get everything they need, and that you two will be right there helping them get everything they need, and their families to get everything they need, is something that's been so important to me all through the time that I've been in office. And I'm so thrilled to see it come to fruition, and I cannot wait to see the results that we're going to see. And I am so hopeful, and I know we're going to see good results, and anything that we can do. And I know I'm speaking for my colleagues here. I know Commissioner Boyce has been intimately involved in this, but I would say that all of us will do whatever it's going to take to make this work well. Because this is too important. We can't not have this work. It has to work. And I know with the two of you and the rest of the team filling out, you're going to make it work. So thank you for committing to this project, because this is the work of Franklin County. And for our residents and their family, all of their families, for the boys and their families. This is the work that we need to be doing. So thank you.
Commissioner Boyce?
Do you want me to make my comments now?
Well, I have some I wanted to say, but I thought you had things you wanted to add.
No, I didn't have more questions. I was going to make closing comments. Oh, let me go now.
Let me throw some stuff in here. So, first of all, Christopher and Walter, great work that you guys are doing. Appreciate everything that you guys have gotten into. A couple of things. Walter, you mentioned food insecurity. So there are some things that we have been doing around food insecurity that the board has been involved in, the county's been involved in since I've been around. I know that we've gotten involved in the Corner Store Initiative with United Way, trying to involve. And there's a couple of these are programs that if you reach out to folks in the Economic Development and Planning Department, Brian Essenbrook in particular. So if you reach out to Brian, he can work with you to get you more information around some of the stuff that we've done in this area. Corner Store Initiative was to work with some of the corner stores in some of these areas where we have food deserts and where we have places around town. These were some of these. This is a while back, but some of these were in the near west side and areas. But they're we did this with United Way a while back, and it's not frankly it's not something that we can't look into again. But working with some of the corner stores to do fresh meats and cheeses and produce and things that offering this stuff in parts of town. Because those are areas of town where there's no as you say no grocery store, no way for folks to be able to get fresh food options, and we were involved in those programs with the United Way. The other thing is the local food action plan that we have been involved with the City of Columbus for a number of years now. Brian is our lead in Economic Development and Planning Department, and through those programs, folks can use their EBT and their SNAP benefits in different ways through those programs as well. But you may check with them in EDP on those programs as well. We also have done some work over the years identifying some of the food deserts in town and working to combat the food deserts. We spent a lot of time, it's been a year and a half now, Administrator Wilson, been a year and a half when we worked on combating the, it was late summer 2018 when Kroger decided to close their store in the Cleveland Avenue corridor there at Northern Lights. But we got directly involved in working to try to combat that particular closure and working with the community and Job and Family Services and Economic Development Planning got directly involved with the community to try to figure out how we could combat that closure and what we could do for the community in that area. So we've done a lot in these particular areas, in that particular area, in the area of food insecurity, and it is a big issue in the community, and it is something that the Board of County Commissioners has been very actively involved in over the years. And so, anything, so that's as Commissioner Brown was talking about, a cross-agency, collaboration. So if you want to reach out to the folks in EDP, they can be helpful in that regard. Michael Salvador is also a good resource over there as well with some of that work. But the work that you guys are doing has been tremendous. It's going to continue to be tremendous. Proud of what you guys are doing. And it's very representative of, as Commissioner Brown has stated, very representative of what we're trying to get done. And so we are excited about it. I was talking to Director Bibbins yesterday, have a call tomorrow afternoon, but I hope that you guys will be able to be on. I'll be speaking to colleagues from across the country on the large urban county caucus of NACO, and talking to them about racism as a public health crisis, trying to presenting to them our resolution that we passed in the middle of May, and asking them to consider passing a similar resolution in their communities across the United States, asking them to encourage their mayors and city councils do the same and asking them to reach out to their governors and legislatures and to do the same as well, just like what we've done here in Franklin County. And so that calls tomorrow afternoon, and hoping that you guys might have a chance to listen in when we do that tomorrow.
Absolutely. I wanted to add one thing onto that. In my time with Children's Services, one thing that they always told us was there's a difference between a safety risk and a quality of life, right? Is there no food in the home, which is a safety risk, or is it just not the healthiest foods, which is a quality of life thing? I think what's happened is the quality of our life has devalued so much that it's trickling into the safety risk, right? Somebody this morning that's very near and dear to me just called me and said that they might have high blood pressure. And, when you talk about the social determinants of health, we hit on the equitable health care and the economic mobility and education attainment, but people leave out the food insecurity sometime, and not just not having access to foods like potato chips and Pop-Tarts, but healthy food, stuff that sustains our life. Our zip codes, those 43206s, the 43223s, those zip codes are heavily determining how long of a life we live. And so I think, eliminating food securities and trying to get healthy foods in these neighborhoods is very important. So I'm glad you all brought that up.
Walter, over the course of time, when all you can afford and all you have access to and all you can afford are corn dogs and burritos and Cheetos and potato chips, and that's all you have access to. Over the course of time, that's a health risk. That's not just a lifestyle choice; it's a health risk. And we've looked at this. We've studied this over years. Commissioner Brown and I, saw these studies 10 years ago, which is why we started the Corner Store Initiative 10, 11 years ago. We looked into this and saw this 10, 11 years ago, because when you only have the option of shopping in a bodega because the closest grocery store is a 3-mile COTA ride, and you got to take 3 little kids, pile them onto a COTA bus, take them to the nearest Kroger, the nearest grocery store of whatever type, go do your shopping. It takes you an hour to do, pay for your groceries, and then carry all those bags, and then and with 3 little kids in tow, and put them back on a COTA bus and take them all back home. That's the most inconvenient thing in the world. So it's a lot easier to just shop at the bodega, and that's the best case scenario. It's a health crisis, and it's a problem. And so when those bodegas are only carrying Hostess Twinkies and corn dogs and things of that nature, that's a health crisis. That's a major health crisis. So
absolutely.
Sorry, Commissioner Boyce.
Thank you, President O'Grady, and your comments about food insecurity couldn't be more in line with elements that are needed to support family units. In particular, you can see it in a geomap of Central Ohio, where they just don't exist. But let me just zero in as I just sort of bring closing remarks here on a couple of things. I really believe that the work that Christopher and Walter are going to be doing is this sort of roll up your sleeves, grind down to the bone kind of work that can begin to heal families. And here's what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to get these statistics exactly right. So if the dispatch is on or somebody is quoting me, you should do your own review of these statistics and get them accurate. But essentially, when you look across the board at the family unit and you work in race in that examination, generally white families, the predominant number of white families live in 2-parent homes. I want to say it's something like maybe 10% of white kids are living in single-parent homes. It might be a little higher, but it's very low. Then it's maybe like Hispanic or Asian homes. The percent of kids living in single-parent homes are probably even just a little bit less, I think. And then Hispanic homes, it jumps up. it's to about 43% of Hispanic kids are living in single parent homes. When you get to African American homes, the amount of children living in single parent homes is over 70%. And so when you're talking about families that end up somewhere in our judicial system, that a part of that is a contributor to the breakdown of the system. And here's where I'm going with this. One of the gentlemen mentioned talk about the statistics of what African Americans make up in Central Ohio. Well, so let's call it. Let's say African American males are half of the 20% that live in Central Ohio, and so let's say it's 10%. Again, these are rough statistics. But in our corrections institutions, African American males make up nearly 50%. And so again, and then you go back into the family unit, and what they're doing is capturing young people, particularly African American males at the age around 12 to 15 or something like that. And we're getting at the sort of the most vulnerable time in their lives to begin to, whatever challenges that they're facing, begin to address that. But back to what O'Grady was talking about with the food insecurity, then there are all of these other pieces that begin to contribute to the vulnerability of the family unit. And I gotta say, I grew up in a family unit like this, and I'll give you one quick story. Y'all know when I was 7, my father was murdered, and then there were just a number of issues that became critical to our survival as I think back now. And had someone captured, say my brother, captured is not the right word, but had someone gotten to my older brother, who most spent some time in correctional institution, had they gotten to him at 12 or at 13 when he was truant, and it was simple truancy issues that could be corrected or could be adjusted or services could be provided, and then got into the family unit to provide XYZ. And then there was follow-up to that with the single mom. And this is where our core work gets, when then we get to the innovation hub and we're able to look at really big things that impact the family unit to make a difference and the goal there is taking them from poverty and being sort of generational poverty to the next layer of success, whatever that means for that family or those individuals. And I really think this is the kind of work that when we look back, as Commissioner Gray was talking about a 10-year look back, when we look back 10 years from now, we're going to see there are going to be 5 or 6 things that we did that really sort of moved the needle for us and that really sort of connected and will last the test of time. I think this is one of them. I think this is one of those things that we'll look back and we will say, that people will be asking us, what did you do to get this, to change this, to impact, to start really grinding it out with families that are stuck in poverty, that are stuck with challenges and are vulnerable. And we'll turn to this group in this day and say, we zeroed in on family units. And we started saying, each family is like everybody on this call, an individual. The family has its own challenges, its own dynamics, its own culture, and all of that. But when you zero in on what their challenges may be that keep them in this place of vulnerability, you might be able to change that up to an extent. You might be able to provide them with a pathway and direction or resources. And that's where I really feel like Christopher and Walter make the connection. And the last thing I'll say about these 2 young men, and I don't want to be one to join the chorus of these guys are great. They're stars. That's wonderful. But here's what I think is most important about these guys. They're the right guys for this kind of work. When you talk to them and you start to ask them questions about how do you work with these families? What do you do? How are you going to follow up? You can see they're the kind of people that, they have the skills, but they have the passion to go with the skills. And so you connect the two. They're the right 2 people to really get this kind of initiative of the legs that it needs. And so I'm excited about it. I think it's real work. Like with my other 2 colleagues, everyone asks us about the resolution on racism. And I always point to the poverty blueprint work. I always said that the resolution is really an outcome, a finding, but you got to deal with the work that we did, and I always talk about Commissioner Brown, how we spent a year where the commissioners were there all day doing the work with leaders in the community to try to really figure out a direction. And so to me, I think that we have taken the steps to where you see it, the grind, the work, and now the people begin to really nip at this stuff. And I'm just excited about this. And for real, I love my colleagues because they're so passionate. We're all just in sync about this. And it just makes, it makes for the type of progress that I think matters. And so I'm excited. Congratulations, guys. It's been a long way coming. But you know, you got work to do. This is, you're on the hook, and you are going to be the difference makers for the little Kevins that are 7 years old and they've got whatever disruption in their family unit. Now you are the sort of catch basin to help get us the resources they need so that we can make those families successful. And I can't wait to meet those families and start, because I think I'm going to do some of the training with them, but I want to really sort of go in and sort of meet these families and try to figure out, you know, how do we connect the dots for you? How do we build the bridge? Because we can take that and replicate it. So thank you so much. Thanks for indulging me, everybody. I'm excited about this and looking forward to my yes vote here.
Great. Great stuff.
You gonna move?
Oh yeah, no, that's important. All right. And thanks, Nana Watson, too. I think she had to jump off the call, but it's great to have leaders like Nana out there, too, that will hold us accountable when we do something wrong, but also is there with us to cheer us on when we make good moves. So with that, if there are no further comments or questions, I would like to move for adoption of, make sure I got the right resolution, 402-20.
I would like to second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 402-20 has been adopted. Thank you. Resolution number 403-20. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services Director to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Columbus State Community College for the provision of referral and information sharing services in support of the new Community College Acceleration Program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Turner, Assistant Director. The Ohio Department of Job and Family Services has used federal SNAP education and training dollars to establish the new Community College Acceleration Program and selected Columbus State Community College as one of 5 pilots across the state. The program will include case management services, vocational education and occupational skills training, and wraparound supports. This MOU will establish a process to refer Columbus State students who want to apply for SNAP benefits to our on-site case manager, and in turn into the Community College Acceleration Program. There is no cost associated for us, and the MOU will also permit data sharing between us and Columbus State Community College. The time period for this MOU is August 1st, 2020 through July 1st, 2021. And this resolution also permits the director to enter into future amendments to this MOU. Pending any questions, I request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 403-20.
Second.
In seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 403-20 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 404-20, resolution authorizing a subgrant award and contract to the City of Columbus for batterers intervention services through the fiscal year 2018 Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $26,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Daniels, Director of the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. This contract will allow us to extend our agreement with the City of Columbus Municipal Court to allow for information and intervention services for everyone who is charged with domestic violence in terms of educational programming, as well as individual counseling and intensive programming for batterers who identify as part of the LGBTQ plus community. Pending any questions, we'd ask for your approval.
Sounds good. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 404-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
and Commissioner O'Grady. Looks like he has stepped off for a moment. The resolution does pass though. Resolution number 405-20. Resolution authorizing a contract extension for case management and peer support services with Impact Community Action through the fiscal year 2018 Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration Medication Assisted Treatment Grant Program and the amount of $81,716.
Commissioners, this resolution allows us to continue our partnership with Impact Community Action. Through them, we receive 40 hours full-time service of Marcia White, who works as a peer support specialist in our office. Because she is a contractor through Impact, she is able to do transportation for our clients, other things that employees cannot do. And we have had this relationship in place with Impact for a year. We'd like to continue that. Marcia is absolutely incredible with the clients that she serves. Pending any questions, we would strongly ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 405-20. I'm sorry.
That was
right?
correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
405-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 405-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 406-20. Resolution authorizing a sub-grant award and contract for service with All That for juvenile justice and delinquency prevention programming under the fiscal year 2019 Title II Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act block grant in the amount of $15,000.
Commissioners, as stated in the title, this is using Title II Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention money. We're very happy to bring this forward as it dovetails into the work that Director Bivens just outlined. This will allow All That to serve up to 30 at-risk youth residing in zip codes 43203, 05, 09, 1327, and 32, providing them with mentoring, alcohol and drug education and treatment, and academic life and skills assistance. Pending any questions, we'd ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 406-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 406-20 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Human Resources.
Resolution number 407-20. Resolution authorizing a contract with Sedgwick Claims Management Services Incorporated to provide workers' compensation third-party administration services for Franklin County in the amount of $660,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. This contract is a new contract with Sedgwick, who was our previous TPA with an expiring contract. This new contract, along with providing workers' compensation services, will also enhance the county's injury and illness record keeping and reporting, and provide us with additional services going forward. With any questions, I'll wait for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 407-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 407-20 has been adopted.
All right. Thank you. Purchasing.
Resolution number 408-20. Resolution authorizing a transfer of general fund appropriations for the purchase of capital equipment.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry-Balanier, Director of Purchasing. This resolution is for a transfer of general fund appropriations in the amount of $60,000 from purchasing's materials and services budget to capital outlays. This will enable us to purchase a new Rezo copier that is necessary for the support of the County Printing Consolidation Initiative. Pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 408-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 408-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 409-20. Resolution authorizing a contract with Access to Interpreters, LLC for the provision of remote interpretation services in the amount of $24,500.
Commissioners, this resolution would approve a contract with Access to Interpreters, LLC, a certified WBE vendor for remote interpretation services. During this COVID-19 health crisis, this offering will provide the county with secure technology-based options for connecting with clients and residents. The contract will be open to all BOC agencies, as well as the offices of the county auditor, treasurer, prosecutor, engineer, and clerk of courts. It will be in effect for up to 1 year with a not to exceed amount of $24,500 among all using agencies, and each agency will open POs as needed. Additionally, the resolution would delegate signature authority to the county administrator to sign any business associate agreements that may be necessary. Pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 409-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 409-20 has been adopted. Resolution number 410-20. Resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $1,037,075.10.
Commissioners, our third resolution seeks approval of 49 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. This week, 7 out of 12 eligible POs totaling $122,725.44 are being presented for award to 4 women business enterprises and 3 minority business enterprises. This represents 67% of the eligible PO volume and 78% of the eligible PO dollar value. Pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 410-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 410-20 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay. Clerk Hendon Lang, do we have any journalizations this morning?
One, Commissioner. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing on the 2020 Franklin County tax budget. This hearing will be held via Zoom conferencing at general session on Tuesday, June 30th, 2020 at 9 a.m. Additional information may be obtained by contacting the clerk of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners at 614-525-5387.
Clerk, this is Kenneth Wilson, County Administrator. For the record, if there's a Scribner's error in the notice, it will be for the 2021 Franklin County tax budget.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order or the county? So I know that Mr. Kovac from the Columbus Dispatch is not on this morning's call. Is there any other media on the call this morning that would like to ask questions? I guess not. So that concludes today's meeting. We will see everybody next week on today's the 23rd. And so thanks for all your time this morning. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.